I'd like to ask you about another backstory that I've heard about.
Okay.
You're the one that told me you sold encyclopedias way back when, before all of this existed, I think when you were at a very young age. And what I took away from that was very interesting. Tell us how you selling encyclopedias way back then has brought you into the mindset that you have today when you're approaching organization after organization. What does this do for you?
Well, let's see. Wow, I hadn't thought of that in a long time. My freshman year in college, I was 17 years old. I needed money. I was too young to even wait on tables in any place that served alcohol. I had caddied in a country club in the summer, but now it's winter and I just needed money. And I saw an ad about, selling encyclopedias. So I thought, well, let's find out what that's all about. So it's interesting. They gave a course. There were about 6 or 8 of us in there. Well, the whole way, and I knew nothing about selling, the whole sales presentation was really about a teacher selling these products to the parents of their students and how important it was. And so the whole thing was geared for more of a middle-aged person selling it to parents. Well, I'm 17 years old. I looked like a fool. And so that didn't work at all. I think I sold 1 set. Then I got into selling Fuller brushes. And that's the company's long gone. I bought all this product and you get a territory and you had to go door to door. Basically, it was a working class neighborhood. So you couldn't do it at night. It was dark. So it was a Saturday morning deal. Most people weren't home and that got frustrating. But then my sophomore year, I was at a friend's house when somebody came by to sell his sister pots and pans. And I watched the demonstration. I thought, I can do this. I can sell pots and pans. You find out young ladies who've been engaged. And I sold for the last 3 years of college, pots and pans door to door. And he had somebody that would set up appointments. And I really learned the sales presentation well. And I knew the needs. And I really learned how to sell, that product. And that was really the beginning of, and when somebody, people talk about rejection. I never really thought of it as me being rejected. My mindset was, well, they're not ready to buy yet. And, and one of the questions I would ask is I would say, well, and what is it that you would need to see to reconsider your point of view? And I remember once the fiance was there. And he was adamant about not buying these pots and pans because they weren't cheap. I mean, they weren't cheap. And so I asked him a couple of questions and this and that. And I built a little relationship with him because it was clear that he was a no. And he was a hunter and a fisherman. And I said, what kind of gun? And he showed me his guns and his fishing poles, neither one of which I did. And I said, wow, that's a beautiful gun. What's a gun like that cost? And he told me, and I said, what about this fishing pole? He told me he was proud to talk about all of his toys. And then I looked at his future bride and said, you're going to be in that kitchen every night cooking. Wouldn't it be nice to have the best equipment, just like he has with his son at your fishing? And I watched the two of them. And I got the sale. She said, yeah, I'm going to be doing this every night. You spend all this money on this. This is something that I really think I need and I want. And I threw in a set of crystal and some silverware and made this. So, I mean, selling door to door it teaches you a lot.
That's amazing.